Am I overreacting? My husband had his coworker over for dinner, then spent 1 hour on the phone with her when she left. Hi there. I, 36 female, am a mother of 3 and work part-time. My husband, 36 male, and I have been together for 12 years, married for 8 years. Last week, my husband invited his 36-year-old coworker and her 38-year-old partner for dinner. I had to rush home from work and pick up our children from after-school activities to come home to clean and cook. My husband's coworker attended, but her partner did not, as he had plans of his own. After a rather long night of my husband and his coworker sitting close on the couch and getting my children to hug his coworker, she called him after she left at 12 a.m. and they spoke for over an hour on the phone, and he took the call outside where there were no cameras and anyone could hear him. He came to bed at 1 a.m. and I got up to sleep in another bed as I was so angry. He followed me and asked why I was so upset, and when I said that I was angry about the phone call, he stated that he called her as she had 2 glasses of wine and was driving home, so he was concerned. Today, he said he was planning on meeting her partner as she wanted to double date. I have stated that I'm not interested. Am I overreacting, or is there something more here? In the comments, Scotty Hubbs says, "My dad did this to my mum when I was a kid. The woman's husband came too, and my dad and this woman went and sat outside and left my mum to entertain a stranger. My dad was definitely having an affair. Not his first, not his last. You rush to clean and serve them, plus take care of the kids, whilst they make you feel like a third wheel in your own home? I would have reacted the same way. Definitely did not overreact. She could have shared her location, but a 1-hour phone call is a stretch when she has her man to fill that role. Set boundaries ASAP. Always trust your gut, if not 6th instinct. Husband going outside to talk to her on the phone for an hour at 1 a.m.? They're basically already in a relationship, and he's not even trying to hide it from OP. At this point, I'm wondering if her partner even exists. I would agree to the double date to see if he actually shows up or if there's another convenient excuse for his absence. My point is that your husband's situation with his coworker is very suspicious and your feelings are warranted. I don't trust him nor her. Stop catering to his shenanigans. If he wants to have people over, let him do the planning, cooking, cleaning, etc. Not overreacting. Honestly, if you're feeling off about situations like this and it's unsettling, I feel like it's one of those ones where if there is smoke, there is fire. Like, how can there not be? He's acting so incredibly sus. Who goes outside at midnight for an hour? That's not normal. That's incredibly sus. If she's drinking and driving, an hour-long phone call is only going to distract her, is it not? I don't think you're overreacting at all. This is ridiculous. And now, onto the update. We have talked about this girl and the situation. For those of you who have asked if she has a partner, she does. He is visible in her online profile pictures. I would have been fine if it was a text message, but it was not, which is what upset me, plus the going somewhere else to talk. I addressed how I didn't like him telling our younger children to hug her, and his response was that I am very protective of them. I don't even make them hug family if they don't want to, so I felt very uncomfortable. I cleaned and cooked, as I didn't want this couple to come and see the total tornado of a mess created by my children. I cooked because I'm an idiot who couldn't say no. Yes, I do feel like there is something more there that I have addressed with him, but he said that it's just work friends. I still have this gut feeling though. I just have nothing to go off apart from his lack of presence with his family, which can be due to his shift work, but I feel like also partly because he's not interested in being with us. I also told him that if he wants to be with her, he can go be with her, and that we will be completely fine without him. But he has stated that he thinks this marriage is important and that they are work friends. Thank you for all of your replies. I forgot to mention when I started this thread that prior to asking to meet my children, she asked to meet his mother who works in the beauty industry. When my husband mentioned this, I thought nothing of it. Also, yes, I am very insecure. I have spent the last 8 years raising children mostly by myself and working while my husband was working. So I have no additional help as we don't have family to help. His mother does not help with the children as she is not interested in looking after them, which is completely fine. So the most I can do is go for a walk on my lunch break at work and on the weekends depending on my children's activities. So, nothing got addressed? He's just denying it, and that's kind of where we stand right now, OP? I mean, go ahead if you want to, but I feel like there's more to it than this, and he's just stonewalling you. Okay, good luck, OP. Come back again if there's any other updates. I'd love to know what else you're doing. Thank you for the story. Our next post is by user IndependentBody8317, and it's titled, "My boyfriend is being asked to pay child support for a child he was previously told could not be his." I will try to write everything chronologically so it makes sense. In 2022, my boyfriend and I had not yet met, and he was seeing what the dating pool had to offer. He met a woman, they went on a few dates, shared a night or two, but nothing more came of it. A little while after they had last been together, this woman texts him asking when their last date had been, saying she was pregnant. My boyfriend told her the date and asked how this could be, as they had used a condom, and she told him she was on the pill. She just said that from the time window her OBGYN had given her, there was no chance he could be the father, and then blocked him everywhere, and he didn't hear from her again. In 2023, my boyfriend and I met, hit it off, and have been in a wonderful relationship ever since. Come September 2024, and my boyfriend gets a letter in the mail saying the woman from 2022 has named him as the father of her now nearly 2-year-old child and wants him to pay child support. My boyfriend writes back, explaining the situation and asking for more information. As a response, he receives no information whatsoever, but a very aggressive letter telling him to just acknowledge paternity. He, of course, does not, and a few letters are written back and forth until finally the mother writes a letter herself. Once contact is established to the mother, my boyfriend tries to find out why she wants child support now when she said he could not be the father and what this whole situation is about. Her story now is that she lied to him about taking contraception because she wanted a child, and then lied about the possibility of him being the father because she didn't want him to receive paternal rights such as shared custody or visitations. The only way to know for sure whether or not my boyfriend is the father of this child is a test, which he got to take yesterday after months of unfriendly, insulting, and straight-up manipulative letters from both the mother and the child support office. Now there's nothing we can do but wait for the results, but the anxiety is pretty intense for the both of us. We have talked to a lawyer and tried to gather as much information as possible, and from what we know, if the test is positive, my boyfriend will be forced to pay about 1/4 of his income in child support until the child finishes their education, and the child will be entitled to a not too small portion of his assets when he dies. There does not seem to be a way to dispute any of this, because child support is seen as the child's right in our country, so the mother's lies, even though she openly admits them, and we have proof of this, are not taken into consideration. We are terrified of how this could impact our future. We've always wanted kids, and now don't know if we'll be able to afford building a family together. It feels like receiving a positive test result will mean this woman shattered our dreams, and that the law is just standing by and applauding her. We also feel incredibly sorry for the child, as they obviously did not ask for any of this and are now stuck in a horrible situation because no matter who turns out to be the father, he will probably not be thrilled about it. We decided not to talk to friends or family before we know for sure, so thanks for letting me get this off my chest here. As my boyfriend has gotten this comment from the one person he decides to confide in besides me, I would like to ask you to refrain from commenting things along the lines of, well, if he didn't want a child, he shouldn't have slept with anyone. That is neither helpful nor anywhere close to how reality works. In the comments, CK Thorpe says, "Are you sure the child support office address is real? Check with Google to confirm the address. Is it possible this is all just a big scam?" OP replies, "I thought that too, but from all I can tell, it is real. Call the main office in your town and double check to see if everything is on the up and up." I think this is a valid approach. Should she have gone far enough to fake the CPS messages, she's also going to cheat with a DNA test, right? Well, I don't know about cheating a DNA test, because I don't know how to do that, but I've seen and heard people cheat and fake CPS. Depending on country, if she named him on the birth certificate, he can be responsible, but get DNA test and go through courts. If it comes back not his, file for attorney fees and damages. If it is his, file for 50-50 custody and no child support. Figure out what you want and if you want a child. I agree with this. If he's the father, he should sue for split custody. If he's not the father, he should try to get his expenses covered at the very least. I'm a petty sort. If it comes back as not his, I would also make sure everyone knows that she tried to extort money from him. Interesting that she just admitted to reproductive abuse, pretty much. Like, I understand reproductive coercion, but like lying to him about taking contraception because she wanted a child, that's reproductive abuse. Unfortunately, even if you were to take her to court over that, I don't think it's going to change the reality of the situation for you and for him, OP. Whether you should or should not try putting her in jail for this one is up to you. I think a lot of people would want to try and get some retribution for what she has done, if it does end up being your child. I'm going to go with she tampered with the condom and said that she's on the pill, so it was all good, and this ended up happening. If it were me in the situation personally, I'd be going no holds barred, straight to the courts, dragging her through it as much as possible, and sending her ass to jail. That is such an egregious thing to do to someone, and if it does turn out that the child is his after all of this, I don't blame you for whatever actions you do take personally, OP. You didn't sign up for this when you got with him. And now, on to the update. So we got the test result this morning, and it is positive. We had a really long talk with our lawyer, and this is basically what the situation is. My boyfriend will have to pay child support from now until the child is around 25, give or take a few years depending on when they finish their education. He will also have to pay the backlogged child support of the past 2 years. As the mother and child live too far away, he cannot get shared custody as it would destabilize the child's life too much. He will likely be granted visitation rights once a month or once every other weekend. As of now, he's unsure whether he wants that or prefers no contact. Full custody is not an option, as that would only be possible that the mother is negligent to a point of endangering the child's life. None of the mother's lies, saying she was on the pill when she wasn't, telling him that he couldn't be the father given the timeline, etc., make any difference, even though she admitted all of them in writing, because the only thing being considered is the child's welfare. The only one that could have helped us in any way was the saying that she was on the pill, which she admitted was not true, but she realized how stupid that was to admit and is now framing it as, she didn't lie to my boyfriend, she forgot to take it and didn't realize she had forgotten when she told my boyfriend she had. So in summary, we are stuck paying huge sums to this woman for the next 20 plus years while she can celebrate the success of her deception and have the law applauding her. To the point of the child's welfare, I am completely for it. The poor child did not ask to be born, much less into a situation like this. Personally, I do not think that the way the law handles this situation is actually in the child's best interest, though. It feels more like the term child welfare is being used to justify forcing the father into a role that is essentially nothing more than a breathing wallet, while it is never questioned whether the mother is a good parent. This is the reason my mentions of the term may sound bitter. That has nothing to do with me wanting anything remotely bad for the child. Edit. As I did not make this explicitly clear in this post, and a lot of people are getting caught up on it, he did not rely on her entirely about contraception. They used a condom on top of her saying she was on the pill. Also, to everyone telling us to relocate, that is not a possibility for us. In the comments, SweetBuy4908 says, the takeaway from this, if you haven't been fixed, wrap it up every single time, and even if you have, birth control and STD prevention is the responsibility of each and every sexual partner, no matter what the other one might say. Raven Maleficent says, no, your boyfriend is the one on the hook for child support, not you. This is a huge change in regard to your relationship should you choose to stay. Since you are not married, I would definitely look into a lawyer to see how marriage would affect how child support is calculated if you stay with him and do get married. Depends on the state. I'm in Rhode Island, and when I fill out the DR6, they only ask me to give an amount that my current wife contributes to the children, and it's an amount that can't really be proven, so you can really put any reasonable amount that you want. Also, to be clear, I'm the one getting paid. My ex is a deadbeat with no job, so she pays the minimum, and the calculation of my income makes zero difference. John the Builder says, "Oh Lord, why are you involving yourself this way when you are not married? What do you mean we are paying? You have no obligation to help him pay for his child. If you don't wise up quickly, you'll burn yourself out over someone else's problem, and there is no reward for that." I agree with this. There is no "we are paying," it is he who is paying. It's his kid, so his money goes to child support, not OP's. I bet OP ends up covering it for him. She believes everything he's told her. Which would make OP the dumbest person alive, and they'd regret it when they break up, because 1, OP will be out loads of money, depending how much child support is since we don't know, and 2, her boyfriend will be angry that he has to pay if they do split. I'm interested to know what you think the alternative is that the law should have done in the best of the child's welfare. If the father of the child is not willing to take the necessary steps to be an active and equal presence in the child's life, regardless of the state of the parents' relationship to each other, then they demand full child support. What's the alternative to that? You can't just expect the mother to cover the cost. She can't magically increase her income, so that limits financial resources for the child and would therefore penalize the innocent party. You can't demand either parent be forced to move. So, what is the alternative when you say the law doesn't handle it well, that's in the best interest of the child? Yeah, I don't have the answers for that one, and I think that the law is handling it as equally as possible in that regard, because I don't think there is an alternative. This is a really shitty situation. This situation sucks major ass, and I wouldn't want to be caught up in it. As much as everyone is dumping on OP and saying that they're stupid, "Oh, what do you mean you're stuck? Our lawyer, our finances, it's his." I just know you guys in the comments are going to be like, "Oh, typical Reddit attacking people again." I can understand why people assume that OP is an idiot for staying with this guy, but this is all very fresh stuff. I don't think OP has had the time to kind of process all of this and then be like, you know what, it's in my best interests to kind of leave this and find someone without a kid now, just start over. I think there's also this assumption that OP is taking on the bulk of expenses. Until she says otherwise, I'm going to ignore people saying that. All I'm going to say is good luck, OP. You have lots of options ahead of you depending on what you decide you want to do. And if you want to stick it out with him and have kids of your own in the future, like you said in the original post, I wish you all the best of luck. Our next post is by user Silverskin, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole here if I cut off my father if he stays with his girlfriend after she assaulted me? My father and I have always had a pretty good relationship. But to be honest, it's been strained since I had my first child about 9 months ago, as I've not felt that he's been very kind or supportive towards me. My husband, baby, and I went to visit him recently. He lives in a vacation spot, so we visit every winter. His girlfriend, who he's been with for a few years, moved in with him last year. His girlfriend and I have always gotten along, and I really loved her. I was prepared to allow my son to call her grandma even, and encouraged my dad to propose when he told me he was thinking about getting married to her. To my surprise, only 3 days into our visit, his girlfriend came home from work and lost it at me, and my dad witnessed the entire thing. Screaming at me, accusing me of ridiculous things, saying horribly mean things to me. I have to spare you the details because otherwise the post will be so long, but essentially, she's an almost 60-year-old woman who was never married or had children, but always wanted to. And it seemed like she was angry that I have a child, and she never did, and was using me as a punching bag as a result. I felt like I was in the school playground and getting bullied by the mean girl. Eventually, she got so angry that she came an inch within my face, screaming insults at me, waving her long fingernails in my face. This is where my dad stepped in and had to literally grab her arms, hold her back to prevent her from attacking me, but she kept escaping him and going after me, screaming at me, chasing me around the apartment. At one point, she started aggressively running toward the room where my baby was sleeping, screaming her head off, and tried to open the door to wake up my baby. My dad grabbed her at the last second and prevented her from doing this, but when she tried to go into my baby's room like that, I knew there was no coming back from this, and I would never be willing to be near her again. She also put her hands on me aggressively after I told her not to touch me. Throughout this whole altercation, I did not scream at her or touch her at all. I tried my best to calmly defend myself the entire time, and my dad, who witnessed it, agrees that I handled the situation as well as anyone could have. My dad felt that her behavior was completely out of line, mean, aggressive, and scary. Since the incident occurred, I have not seen her, and I made it clear to my dad that I will never go near this woman again and cannot let her near my child again. When she was running towards his room, it was honestly one of the scariest moments of my life, because I really felt like she might try to hurt him. I even considered calling the police and filing charges against her, but decided not to, as I don't like dealing with police typically. The problem that I'm having with my father is that he has told me that he loves this woman and does not want to break up with her, even though he witnessed the entire event and agrees that her behavior was unbelievably horrible, aggressive, and scary. As a mother myself, I cannot understand why he would want to stay with a person who assaulted his child. If someone did that to my son, I would leave them immediately and never see or speak to them again. I am so disappointed in my father that he would want to stay with this woman after this. The entire thing was traumatizing for me, and this happened several weeks ago, and I've barely recovered. I told my dad that if he stays with her, I will really have no choice but to stop having a relationship with him as well, and that also means that he cannot have a relationship with my son, his only grandchild. He says it is unfair for me to make him choose between her and I, and to that, I told him that she is the one making him choose because she's the one who attacked me. So am I the asshole if I cut my dad off if he stays with this woman? In the comments, BitBat Gaming says, "Not the asshole. Your family deserves the right to be safe from someone who uses violence to bring their message across instead of words. Honestly, I would still file a report, then you've started a paper trail. God forbid, but what if she were to come to your home, or what if she does something to your dad? Then there's a record of her assault on you." And OP says, "You know what? You're right. After reading your comment, I called the police department and am waiting for an officer to call me back so I can file a report." Mary E. Friendly says, "It sounds like she was honestly going to attack and harm your baby. I don't know how he can, in good conscience, stay with her knowing that she has that capacity. He loves an unhinged, mentally unstable woman. What excuse could she possibly ever give for attacking you that he would find reasonable enough to stay with her? I don't care how old you get. Your kids are your kids. If someone attacks them unprovoked, that's it. They're done. I don't give a fuck who it is. The same goes for the nieces and nephews. If anyone, even a family member, attacked one of my nephews, that would be it for them." I did wonder this. I think OP is naive in thinking she was only trying to wake the baby. I don't believe that. I'm not certain she would have attacked the baby, but it's more than just trying to wake. And OP replies, "Oh no, I don't think she was only trying to wake my baby. I think she fully intended on hurting my baby, and that's why I'm fully done with this monster. To be honest, your father is pathetic." OP says, "He really is. I have no respect for him after this." Well, you're not making your dad choose. It seems he already has, and he's chosen this deranged woman. Your dad is a coward. He would rather lose his daughter and stay with the crazy woman than be alone. You're a better person than me. I would have punched her in the face. OP says, "I was seconds away from tackling her when she went towards my baby's room, and would have if my father didn't grab her first." Yeah, I'm with everyone else on this one, OP. You're not the asshole for cutting him off, because any sane person would cut her off for doing that. He has no good reason for continuing to be with her after this. She literally snapped out of nowhere and went to attack you and then attacking the baby. You can't risk being around someone like that. You can't allow them to be within arm's reach of your child and within arm's reach of you. He sees all of this and he's like, I don't care. I'm gonna do it again. You wanna see me do it again? I condone this behavior. That's not acceptable and that's not on. He's chosen to not be allowed in your life anymore after doing that, and that's completely his fault. You can never be the asshole for cutting him off after all of this. And now, onto the update. So a lot of you requested an update on my previous post, so here it is. I'm sorry to say that it's not a good update. My father started to refuse to speak about his relationship with his girlfriend to me. He would say that his relationship is his personal business and refused to answer any of my questions regarding whether they were staying together or not. I found out through my brother that my dad took his girlfriend on a tropical, fancy vacation a couple of weeks ago. When I confronted my dad about it, he blatantly lied to me, saying that he did not go on vacation with her. Eventually, after multiple times of me telling him that I didn't believe him, he finally admitted that they did go on this vacation together. Anyway, my dad has been evasive, lying to me, refusing to answer any of my questions honestly. And as a last-ditch effort, I suggested that we go to counseling together, which we did yesterday, and all he did was speak about how he loves this woman and did not seem to care at all about the fact that she terrorized me. He kept saying that I'm giving him an ultimatum, which is unfair, and that I should just want him to be happy in his relationship. It was a horrible counseling session, and I will not be wasting my time and energy going forward with that. It is abundantly clear that he is going to stay with his girlfriend, and I have decided to end my relationship with him. Edit to add, I did file a police report after my last post as well. The officer who took the report told me candidly that it was not worth it to pursue pressing charges against his girlfriend, as I didn't experience any physical injury. However, there is at least a record of what happened in case things should escalate and his girlfriend behaves violently again. I do truly fear for my father's safety having this woman in his house, and I have told him that. In the comments, DO2G says, "Shame that your child and father won't have a relationship, but that toxic woman has poisoned your dad. Given she clearly has an issue with not having her own kids, I wonder if this was her, conscious or subconscious, plan all along so that she would not have to see your kids around their home. Or maybe there were severe daddy/relationship issues in her past, and now she's treating you as a threat. Good luck, OP." OP replies, "I do think her plan was to isolate him from his family. I even told my dad this, and he denies it completely." Well, the thing is, baby, you can't save everyone, including your own family. Sometimes you have to let people go to protect yourself. If you don't, you'll lose yourself long before they do. You can't save everyone. You want all the help for your dad, but you can't help someone who doesn't want it. He has to want it for himself. OP replies, "You're 100% right, sadly. This is why I'm choosing to just focus on myself and my baby. My dad is a grown man, and he can make his own decisions, however awful they may be, but I cannot let this toxicity hurt me any longer." Own Effect says, "I hate to say this, but your father is also a piece of shit. He was comfortable lying to you over and over, avoiding you, dismissing you. He does not respect you. Take her out of the equation. Was he actually a good father to you?" OP replies, "This is what I've come to realize. His lying is out of control. He was blatantly trying to manipulate me. He even texted my brother saying he is trying to control me. His behavior since this incident occurred has been nothing but self-absorbed and frankly horrible. That's a big reason why I've decided to end my relationship with him as well. I do not think he is a good father to me at all at this point. I even met with my father's best friend on this issue, who is like my surrogate uncle, as he has helped me with problems with my dad in the past. He said my father is a narcissist, completely self-absorbed, not capable of being a loving father towards me, and has completely failed me on this issue. He's 100% right, sadly. By the way, I didn't even have to tell him what happened. He knew about the entire incident directly from my dad, and that was the conclusion that he came to just by speaking to my father." Servant Girl 789 says, "I'm sorry that your father cares more about having access to sex than his own child or grandchild's." Well, it may not be about sex. OP's father may be lonely and feel that having a partner 365 days a year will have a more positive impact on him than a relationship with his daughter and grandson who live far away. OP replies, "My dad actually lives near me about 6 months of the year, and I see him multiple times a week when he does. The other half of the year, during winter, he lives somewhere else. And typically I visit him at least once or twice when he does live there. This last trip, I was supposed to visit him for nearly a month. The trip got cut short due to his girlfriend's attack on me, and we left shortly after. I really do love my dad, and I have made every effort to spend time with him. In addition, he has tons of friends. He sees his friends literally daily for his hobbies, golf primarily. He's also young, in good health, relatively attractive for his age, charming, and wealthy. He could easily attract a different partner. Not the asshole. I read your original post when you posted it, and it seemed weird that she went from being nice and loving to a complete psycho without anything happening. And then I read it again and realized something did happen. You had a baby. She moved in with your dad and she likes the lifestyle. Her attack on you happened after she got home from work. She was probably stewing all day about your dad being at home with you, your husband, and mostly your baby. Her next move will be giving up work. Then your dad will be completely responsible for her financially. You just cut your dad off and played right into her hands. Your brother is next. She wants to ensure that your dad is isolated from you. It's working. Soon she will suggest that he changes his will to exclude you and then your brother. Have you considered not cutting your dad off, and maybe instead you could just tell him that he is welcome in your life and your son's life as long as he doesn't bring her to your home? She will pretend to be hurt, then she will be angry. He might eventually see what she really is. And OP replies, "I've considered this approach, but to me it would just be fake. My father is a very wealthy man, and I do believe she is purposely isolating him for this very reason. I've come to the conclusion that if he wants to remove me from his will, then fine. I don't want the money anyway. I'd rather live authentically and can't have a relationship with someone who has hurt me so deeply." Man, it's just another one of those situations where it's like, what do you do? And OP wants to live their life authentically? I respect it. He really doesn't have many redeeming qualities by the sounds of it, and he's chosen someone that has even less redeeming qualities than himself, and he aids and abets that. In a way, it seems like he gets off on the drama and he enjoys it, so that's also why he keeps her around, because maybe that keeps his life more exciting. If that is the case, that's an assumption from me, that is very sad. That sounds like a deeply flawed individual. I agree that OP is better off without him in her life, because yeah, that approach would just be fake. It is just for money. And in OP's case, it very much sounds like the blood of the covenant is thicker than the money in her dad's bank account. You can't buy me. You can't buy my love. Take the money. I don't care. I'm not getting assaulted by that crazy woman, and I'm not letting my child get assaulted by that crazy woman too. I respect it, OP. I respect that immensely. Stand on your convictions. Keep up the good work. Thank you for sharing this with us. Good luck in the future. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.